20 years ago, Hong Kong was the most corrupt country in the world. And then they appointed an independent public prosecutor. Now it is considered the second most honest country in the world, according to Transparency International. That's all this Anna Hazare is asking. Ramdev is saying, bring all the money back. You don't know how to bring it back? I will tell you. Nationalize it, he said. So they went and brought lathis and hit him. Hit his people. If he had been around, they would have hit him on his skull so that Ramdev would have been permanently out of action. He may not have died, but he would have been useless. So to some extent, he is right, Ramdev, that they were trying to kill me. Now all this why? When Ramdev went on fast again in Hardwar, and he was listening to anybody and his health was deteriorating. That time I got a phone call saying, Jaldi aa jaiye. Ramdev said, Ramdev ki ICU mein. So I was by chance in Dehradun, so I went straight. I was the only politician allowed inside. All the others were Swamijis, Sri Ravi Shankar and Murari Bapu and all these people. Later on the press asked how Swami was allowed in and no other politician was allowed in. They said his name is Swami, that's why. So anyway, I told Ramdev ji, Gandhiji invented this Amaran Anshan business. But he said one thing, never do Amaran Anshan before a person in whose heart there is no place for you, even a small amount of place. I told Ramdev ji, these people want you dead. How can you do fast unto death against them? We'll be the loser, that's all. But fortunately, after all these sadhu sannyasis gave quotations from the Gita and the Upanishads and all this, finally agreed. Ramdev has been wronged by the government. I'll tell you that he will rise again and overthrow this government. He's coming here on September 11th to the United States. Please give him all the support that you can. Our aim now is to bring Hazare out of the clutches of all these fashionable NGOs. Aruna Roy, Harish Mandar, all Naxalites, Sonia Gandhi's friends. They are also members of the National Advisory Council, of which Sonia Gandhi is chairman. And they are all been brainwashing Anna Hazare. No politician. They have to deal with politicians. How can non-politicians deal with politicians? So now, of course, there's been a change. I'm hoping that Anna Hazare, Ramdev, RSS, Vishwa Parishad, some politicians like me, all will come together and create a new alternative for clean India. And this is not we've got a lot of time. We haven't got time. I'm telling you, once Chidambaram goes, then after that I'm going after you know who. And there will be a midterm poll. I'm expecting a midterm poll between November 2011 and February 2012. And then we have to be ready. Let us not get carried away by our shishtachar, We say, our guests, Atithi Devo Bhava. We worship our guests. But you got to be careful, you see. Sita, when she saw a sannyasi come to her ashram, and he said, give me bhiksha, and he sat in a distance away, and it required her to cross the Lakshman Rekha. She first said, no, you come here, take it. He got angry. He said, what do you mean? I'm a sannyasi. I'll give sharp to your husband. So out of Shishtachar, she crossed the Lakshman Rekha. See what happened to her. Ravan didn't come dressed as a Ravan. He came dressed in Bhagwa. Same way some Italian woman comes dressed in sari and does namaste. Oh, what a nice woman she is. Our country is in the throes of a major economic crisis due to this corruption. And with that, I'll explain only in a few sentences and then let you all go to dinner. This money, that black money, some of it goes abroad. And then it comes via abroad. It comes via Mauritius and goes to a stock market and they earn on the money. Sonia Gandhi once complained to Chidambaram, what is this Swiss people? They take our deposit, they don't give us interest on the top of it, they charge us a service charge. So some way should be found to earn money on it. So he came up with this participatory note device, which enables money that has gone abroad, come without who owns the money, who's paid for the money, how he raised it, nothing, which is applicable to you and me as citizens of India. It comes via Mauritius because if you register a company in Mauritius, then there's no capital gains tax in the stock market. And they're looting it that way. The stock market is rigged. Property market is rigged. Then now a new thing is happening. All the forward trading in food grains in agricultural products allowed. So rice, wheat, sugar, salt, all these things, oil, all these things that come, the black money is being used to hoard these. Put them in the go down. The prices shoot up. Your GDP is growing at 9% per year, but your inflation is growing at 16% per year. How is that possible? With supply is expanding at 9% per year, how can the prices rise at 16% per year? It's because of hoarding. And then you have people for greed for money. They're selling our licenses to foreigners who are hostile to us. So the old days when it was a battlefield, our Jawans can fight that. But now it is much more sinister. It's capturing your mind. Why is there so much corruption in India? That is because we have forgotten Sanatana Dharma. This one-dimensional attachment to material prosperity. Yes, we must try to acquire material prosperity, no question. But the society must value other things more highly than money. Today our society is increasingly becoming a society where if you have money, then you have status. Otherwise, you don't have status. When I came as a student to Harvard in the early 60s to get my PhD, one American student asked me, how is it that you accepted Mahatma Gandhi as your leader? So I said, why? In America you will not accept? He said, if he comes to America, we'll put him in jail for indecent exposure. He has only one Mammootty. I also started thinking, what is this? I asked him, what about the leaders in your country? He said, they are very well dressed. Their ties are super, their coats are super. They have to be well dressed, otherwise if they are dressed sloppily, there will be trouble. So then I began thinking. Then I went and read Brigu and Bhardwaja's debate on the creation of Varna, which has now become out of date because Varna has got associated with birth. They never had anything to do with birth. But that time, Brigu said, if you want a stable society, then knowledge, weapons, wealth and land, these are powers and they must be decentralized. Nobody should have more than one of this. If you have knowledge, you don't have weapons, you don't have land, you don't have wealth, but you will be venerated by society. Even though you don't have weapons, you don't have land, you don't have wealth. If you have weapons, you become king, but you cannot make policy. Policy will have to be made by those with knowledge. If you have wealth, you will acquire status only if you engage in philanthropy. If you have land, you must produce for the people and not exploit them. So this was and if you were for some reason moved out of society as what was called as scheduled caste today, what is called as scheduled caste today, your children don't have to be scheduled caste. Valmiki came from a Dalit family, he became Maharishi. Vedavyasa was born of a fisherwoman. He became Maharishi, wrote the Mahabharata. The Ramayana is written by son of a Dalit, and Mahabharata is written by son of a fisherwoman. Kalidasa was a hunter, and Vishwamitra was of Kshatriya parents. He was the Rishi of Rishis. Ravan was a Brahmin, but he broke the law, so he was killed. He was killed by Kshatriya. The Brahmins who did not say, oh, this man has killed our own, one of our own. Because he broke the law, he had to be killed, he had to be punished.